I think I want to talk about the duality between fighting lust and flight. How much have you considered the idea of being abstinent or being celibate? My sexual orientation when it comes to just, I guess, coming to a mind where I can kind of see myself developing some type of stand between the dark image that I have portrayed, an old version who was extremely lustful, combating with a version that conquered that type of lust. You don't find yourself having as many options as you did when you were extremely lustful because all you were doing was giving a lot of women validation and your, I guess, your energy. So while coming into the conclusion about a whole bunch of del- delusional or having a delusional mindset when it comes to just an over giving, overbearing process full of just actually making it coming to the point where I actually needed to, I found myself really driving myself insane. Cause I'm telling myself like, bro, I'm extremely horned. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm extremely horned. And I have no way of literally trying to control it at a time. And being abstinent and being celibate is not all the big all be all, you know what I'm saying? It's all the hype it's meant to be. Semen retention is definitely real, and once you go on and prolong it as much as possible, you're going to finally see how much you need to stop going for people that don't serve you any justice. While we have these realizations over time and we get to finally seeing our emotional prowess while actually diving into our superpowers, you can finally see that having a superpower full of a superpower full of the attachment is what's going to make us last through the long term haul. Having these small little inconveniences and making sure that we can control some part of us that feels like we're going to lash out at any given moment is definitely pleasable. It's inevitable to feel like, oh yeah, we want this and we want that, and we gotta gradually make ourselves and coerce ourselves towards an initiative that we can finally see moving forward. Obviously, when we sit down and we get to finally have these things and these dreams and these expectations of people and of worries that we can't really control, obviously that's something that we want to long for. Touching and physical touch is something that feels great. It feels amazing. But I'll go into a little spiel on just how much of a lustful man I used to be. I think my story starts off when I was around like 15, bro. And I was a little boy, and I really didn't understand at the time like how much it could have really affected me going in long term. Now I'm not gonna lie, I had a crush, and this me and my crush had known each other since preschool. I ended up like following her one day. She followed me back, and she said some, I ain't gonna lie, some irrigorous stuff. Pretty much like she wanted to do stuff to me. And in my mind, I didn't know exactly where to put it at, like in the time frame, because I'm like, I've never touched a woman. But she lived like 10 blocks down, and I lived on the outskirts of school. So it never really occurred to me that I could finally have some stuff that, I could touch on. So after I came back from vacation, I went to Canada for a little bit, and my both of my parents was about to be gone. I said, shoot, I'll wait for them to go to practice. And it's like 5 minutes before practice. I was like, shoot, I might as well just link with her. She brought her sister over, and I'm not gonna lie, we were play fighting, and then all of a sudden, I ended up touching her body part. I ended up touching, her ut. I ended up touching her ut, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a feeling that I've never felt before. I got addicted so fast that I wanted it again. So I wanted it again and again and again, and it would rephrase itself from relinquishing from my mind how much of an effort I wanted to just keep touching some type of body part. And I ain't gonna lie, she was ick. You know what I'm saying? She was thick. So I'm like, bro, if I can't control this, at the time I was like, it's uncontrollable. It's undeniable that I need this. And I'm 15, bro. I had just turned, was about to just turn 16. And I'm like, bro, I'm too young to be like going through this. But in my mind, I'm like, shoot, everybody else, this was just, I was just a late bloomer because everybody was talking about, self indulging and self, gratification around like sixth grade, fifth grade. But I never tried it. I looked at images, but I never tried it. First time looking at images was like sixth grade, and I would just sit in the couch and just watch pictures. I never really touched, the ography. I didn't touch that because I didn't want to. I felt like if I would have did that, it would have came at a certain type of point. I still remember having wet dreams and low-key feeling scared of the substance that came out of my body because what lingers through your system, it makes you uncomfortable seeing this stuff getting regulated in real time. But that's never here nor there. After I had that experience with that girl, I'm not gonna lie, I got some pictures of her and she would send me these explicit photos of herself. And I ain't gonna lie, I'm just like, bro, I can't touch her right now, but I know what I can do. And that first feeling of actually doing it was amazing, bro. It felt like for the first time I had something that could really get me to the point of never actually having to touch a girl. I could do it with my own self. I can really succeed in suffering and not letting my flesh going through a whole bunch of withdrawals because my fiber longed for something like that for such a long time. It just never exuded itself in the most natural way. I was doing it. So while I'm not naturally like, because your body will like literally distinguish a whole bunch of stuff and it will literally relish a lot of the things out of your body at a certain type of point where you need it. So if you're not doing it for a long time, your body will automatically like let it go. And that's the most healthiest way because you're not breaking relapse and you're not breaking fast or you're not doing anything like that. You're kind of like just letting your body regulate and having it really just do it its own way. So while times are harder than you think you're having it right now just because you're doing it and it doesn't feel like anything. I didn't gain no emotion from it. So like I said, after I got the images, I got the stuff, I got the substance, and I felt this dopamine spike. Like I said, I can get into the dopamine. Like that's gonna be a separate video. It might be after this, but yeah, dopamine comes in all forms, and that one was just it was an addiction. It became an addiction, and as I found myself going on Instagram, I would like every pretty girl post. I was in a girl DM every day. From that moment on, I was in a girl DM every day. Just wanting to lose my V card. I wanted to lose my V card so bad, but at the same time, I was such a loving person that I was such an empath that I had some type of ridicule with this. I had to literally slow myself down. And as time went on, it got worse and it got worse and it got worse. And then quarantine hit. And when quarantine hit, I had really been like doing things on that website that I probably couldn't even conform to. There was things that I was doing to myself that an innocent boy like myself who was so interested in just playing football and just wanted to talk to women on a deeper level, I never found myself actually putting in the effort to satisfy myself in such a way and to go to darker lengths in order to really see myself in a different light. I would look different. I wasn't feeling confident as I did when I first didn't do it. I found myself genuinely like feeling like a loser. I felt weak in order to like combat it because we didn't share nothing but time and I had just broken up with my girlfriend. There was a lot of things going on in quarantine in 2020 that developed my addiction in so much ways. Even when I was grieving, even when my mom got incarcerated into the hospital. While these things happen along, I would just satisfy my flesh because I didn't smoke. So I would just have to really, really, really dive into where I wanted to put, my standstill from. And I'm not gonna lie, I just was losing it. I was dropping the ball. Addiction was so much of a way that when it first initially happened and I got those explicit videos at 15, it really was like, dang, like, bro, one, it's girls sending explicit videos like this at our age. You know what I'm saying? I was 15. She was 15. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, what am I really like? What am I really coordinating to? The quality of how much we can exude these videos, and it's not as special as it comes. Like, obviously, I want to see my partner in holy matrimony. Like, I want to see her in her, like I said, bro, I want to see her in her element. So how much of an easy access to what we love from, the big P gives us that momentary value that we're looking for. If we don't have the confidence to talk to women, why not satisfy what we have going on and make ourselves feel belittled in the essence of actually gradually getting to talk to somebody on a deeper level? And trust me, I'm as pleasable as it comes. And like I said, I still have that, indulgement in the things that I got going on with myself. Like, I still feel like I'm extremely horny. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm still extremely up there when it comes to just trying to, you know, master what this sexual desire is. But the more and more I relinquish this pain that's within my body, it begins to put more effort into things like making videos, regulating my emotions. That way I don't feel as depressed as I do. And actually feeling emotions is not something that you need to be ashamed of. Crying and escaping reality checking and having yourself look at yourself as a bigger picture is something that you really have to look for in trying to develop a mind in one body and one sound. The sound is an uplifting, what is it? An amplifier. So while you amplify your nervous system to regulate emotions and to get it out as need be, you can finally see yourselves trying to master what goes on into a system that was meant for you to establish yourself as such. This system was created by people to let you feel more of ashamed of how you feel when you go outside, and you really can't have that happen. When I had did it so much while grieving over, the passing of my mother, I went to college and I couldn't talk to women at all. And it was so embarrassing because at the end of the day, I was finishing so quick. I ain't gonna lie, I would finish fast, super fast. And it got embarrassing, bro. Like, imagine you wanna do it with a girl so long and you feel embarrassed because it was like that. It just went away. Now you're sit there and you feel ashamed, not because you didn't perform well, right? No one ever wants to go in there not performing well. So now you didn't perform well. Now you didn't do the things that was necessary from you, and now you feel like you feel like a weakling. How much of our life that we want to really be winners in our life, bro? We're so motivated by other people that we tend to really like not understand that satisfying our flesh in any way possible, whether that means coercing with the nearest woman with gestures and flirtatious nature, while we sit there and it's in our human nature to have these things, wouldn't it be better doing it with the person that we love? Of course. And I'm not finna sit up here and be like, I'm this big person. I have this gradual understanding that life is about ups and downs, but my losses feel more opponent the more I feel like I'm ashamed about the things that I do. Having people that I can't talk to about this addiction, and people shouldn't laugh about certain addictions that are extremely toxic. Self gratification is definitely an addiction. Getting addicted to drugs is definitely an addiction. So, how much of our time and how much of our effort is really put into always knowing that we got to get things quick? Where's the patience in this world, bro? Where's that everlasting grace that we're all looking for while trying to develop a bond between me and they? It's always so much of our life that is plastered on a big screen TV. And as we're watching our show, we just don't skip past parts that we cannot go through. These moments and experiences that we tend to dish out and try to numb is going to be bad for not just you, but for me and for everybody else that feels like they need to go through these big expectations and these big things. So while we go through these things and while we are sitting up here finding ourselves lost in time, we really have to look up and start praying or controlling these feelings, because they're not feelings, they're urges, and urges are a lot harder to control the more you contract and you feed into them. So if I think about doing it, shoot, I might do it. But if I distract myself by doing push-ups, running, or like I said, making a couple of videos or journaling, put your deep thoughts into words on paper, through a computer, through just writing, and you can see how much of a, not gonna lie, how much of a freak you really could be. And even though those are dark thoughts, and I tell myself I want to do it every day, because I do. I want to do it every day. But I ain't gonna lie, I got taught a lesson, and I'll talk about that in the next video, when I got taught a lesson and I stopped completely because it scared my body, and my nervous system never has went through intimacy in a way that I can actually look at it and be like, oh, this is cool. Because I didn't have intimacy with the love of my life. It was strictly based off of emotion. So I felt like a goofy. I wasn't able to, take her V card. And I felt ashamed for not doing it. I felt less confident. So these things where we go through our experiences and we try to ignore the feeling of feeling embarrassed, because embarrassment doesn't just come with self pleasure. Self pleasure stacks on those embarrassments, and it really is like a catalyst for how we feel. So why not let the enemy distinguish a lot of what we think we're supposed to have in our life, and then we just go and gradually have our own motivations and motives for the things that we care for and we love. But overall, like, will I say I'm still trying to battle this addiction? Of course I am. Like, I've relapsed a couple of times, just going here or there, and it hasn't been with pretty much women. It's been like trying to get away from this system, because I've deactivated my Instagram, and I'll talk about in my next video that's probably going to be posted right after this about isolation. And as you figure out your way on how to battle this system that is literally going to push the algorithm to you off of one video that you see and you get aroused to, your algorithm picks up on that. And it's gonna keep going, it's gonna keep going and going until you relapse, and it's not gonna show no more. And that's the most difficult part about trying to get over addiction, is that it's gonna keep popping up in your face. No matter what, these things are put in a place to keep you distracted from what's actually going on around in the world economically. So while we sit up here and we gotta actually get over these things, do it with our discernment and an effort of discipline. That way we don't never have to go through these things. Just take it from my word as a man that has been through these things and has really drove himself insane. I'm telling you, it's not anything that you want to go to. It's not anything that you want to be addicted to. It's nothing that you want to look at yourself for. And as you getting to really see yourself, note down what you feel. If you feel like you're extremely like this one day, write it down, bro. Say like, I feel like I'm like this. I feel like I need to do this. And then just let it go. Let it out all over that screen. Not like physically, but like actually through your neural pathways. So you get to finally see who the person is that's in that dark corner that is telling you to really do what you want to do. Because that loud voice in the corner is extremely loud. I know it is. Trust me, I know. But if we quiet him down, her, whatever is in your mind that is telling you to do these things, it is going to be beneficial that you control that dark void. Because I'm not gonna lie, I just had a dream like I was doing it. And I'm not gonna lie, your dark self will literally eat at anything that it sees pleasable and pleasurable in your mind. So while that dark embryo in my mind saw something pleasurable, my body just relinquished it out. And it will do that. It will regulate itself in that manner, and you will never have to really try and fight it as much as it will feed off of your brain and know when it's time to let it out. Because while your body is going through the motions, it is necessary for it to let it out, because it's so used of getting momentary things that it'll gradually over time fixate itself, and your brain will gradually digress it as such. So when it insinuates and while it indulges in the things that you think of, let it eat at the things that you have thinking in your mind when you sleep. Let you have wet dreams. You know what I'm saying? Let it really let your body get it out as much as possible. Cause it will, bro. It might not be the day after you quit, but it will literally just it'll just get it out your system. And I had to realize that like the system that we have going on in our body is perfect. We're all made in a way where your body is never gonna make you uncomfortable. But see, while trying to make yourself relinquish uncomfortability by yourself, it's not giving your body enough time to really see and look at it as, okay, he's not being patient. But in a way, I gotta kind of fight and flight with how he feels. Porn is dark. Porn is way deeper than what it's meant to be. And it's really not something that you should be looking at as a way to get over something that is necessary and dark. And while grieving, you should just try and reach out to a friend, talk about it, talk about your desires, what you want to do with people. Because if you have people that's really going to listen, they're going to listen to what you have to say, and they're going to give you their input, and you can gradually see their point of view on how they got over their things and how you watch this video. Look at outlets that just spike that position where I'm not finna do it. Thank y'all for always watching these videos. It means so much to me. Like I said, on this channel, I'm never gonna create an excuse on not to post consistently and daily. And if I don't, then get on my, get on my ass, get on my ass. You feel me? But I've always continued to live up to my dream. Like I said, if you want a wife, if you want something that you can hold and gradually understand, like this is gonna be what it is gonna be now, and when you are finally able to satisfy yourself in such a way, in such a manner with the person that you genuinely, have in your mind and you love and you desire, it's going to feel like you let off or you stepping on eggshells. It's going to feel like, man, I finally got something through intimacy that I've always looked at and I always wanted and I needed for myself. So don't find yourself late at night going through these dark thoughts and wondering, I can't get over this idea of this feeling and this urge because it's really eating at me, and I gotta open this app and I have to scroll and doom scroll, and honestly what you're looking at is so demoralizing. You can't look at other people doing that type of stuff, bro. I think Kevin Gates said it as well. Like those people literally feed off your energy. So as much as you're doing it, you're giving them more positive energy than you think. So you gotta really, like I said, use your discernment, communicate with yourself and through your nervous system, and tell it that we're not gonna do this today. We're gonna really sit down and penetrate not what you think you need to penetrate, but you need to penetrate in them books and studying and learning and indulging into what actually makes you great, a hobby, and just stay blessed, bro. It's times right now, like I see it, bro. It's really hard, but you got this, and you don't need no self gratification to really get you to that point of success. And always, bro, if you want to do it, like I said, always stay protected, bro. Stay protected through God, yourself, and like I said, always use your mind. Give it your all, bro. Pay attention to people, whether you're man or woman. Pay attention to the people that want to just take advantage of you just because they want to do it with you, bro. Just actually use your brain, bro. Cause up here, you way smarter than the average person probably. And once you become aware of how people move, you'll never go back to being the same. And I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye bye.